I've just talked about No Way Home, but the show, once again, has a really fun, surprised antagonist. Hey guys, it's Daniel here. Finally here to review the Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney Plus spin-off show, Hawkeye. So the plot of Hawkeye follows Kate Bishop, a woman who spends most of her life doing archery as inspired by the attack of New York in the first Avengers. However, she's soon roped into a situation where she's having to fight against a mob gang led by an unknown antagonist that are infiltrating certain elements in her mother's company. So she then grabs into the adventure with the guidance of the infamous Hawkeye himself, Clint Barton, as they go on adventures, shooting arrows, and crazy action scenes ensues. Now, if I'm to be totally honest, I was mixed on the idea of having a spin-off focusing on Hawkeye. I mean, it was a pretty good idea. I just wasn't as too big of a deal with Hawkeye as I did with other Avengers who definitely deserve their own spin-offs, who didn't get any spin-offs. But it started to grab my attention, and when I first saw the show, I thought it was really, really good. So I watched it again and interpreted for this video, and after watching it again, I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I had a blast watching it. It had a lot of fun moments. Did it have its flaws? Yes. But still, a really good show. So what do I like about this mini-series focusing on Hawkeye? Well, in my opinion, the most entertaining aspect of the series is the comedic yet crucial bond between Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. I think that their little bond is dynamic. I mean, at first, Clint doesn't really go too fond with Kate's plans because Kate is just so hyperactive and excited to see Hawkeye because apparently Clint is actually Kate's favourite Avenger because he's the one who inspired Kate to be more active and brave and use the bow and arrow, so I can understand why she has a huge fangasm with Clint Barton, and they really help each other through this adventure. Clint helping Kate to be more serious in battles and how to properly use the big titles of using bow and arrows, and Kate helping Clint to be more open about himself and enjoy life to its fullest, even though his plans were really just to spend this holiday with his family. And I did like how they communicate with each other. They have comedic chemistry, like hilarious laughs now and again, and I liked the comedic chemistry between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. That's just great. So yeah, I think they're great together, but individually, they're just as good. I mean, of course, we have the title character himself, Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, once again played by Jeremy Renner, and I am just getting even more invested with this character, to the point where I now love the character, because, after the events of Endgame, he's kind of trying to adjust to the self after the events that happened in Endgame, which kind of scarred him, because now he's with his family after 5 years of not having his family, because, they, faded away during Thanos' snap. So he's just trying to live life to its fullest, but it's now that the situation is in the way of his family time, it just kind of, oh, do I really want to do this again? I just need to be with my family. so I can definitely feel his pain, but he, again, has a lot of hilarious moments and gets me invested in the character, and it makes me really care and root for this character. I wanted him to get his life done, but also wanting him to succeed fighting against these mobs, and Jeremy Renner does a fantastic job playing him. I think he does work as a protagonist. Although, come to think of it, do I really need to call him a protagonist? Because honestly, he's more like the second main character, because the one who really felt like the main protagonist is the new character of Kate Bishop. She is a great new addition to the franchise, adding a comedic level of sidekickness, but also being just a strong character because, she has feelings as well. She has a tragic backstory, and you end up feeling, connected to the character. But again, she has the very nervous quips and fangasms. It's kind of adorable, the way that she talks to Hawkeye, because, we'd all get excited if we meet our heroes, and actually working with them is even better. So, as an inspired actor, I would also be just as excited to meet actors as she is meeting her fellow hero, and Haley Steinfeld does an amazing job making this character come to life. I mean, granted, she can get a bit too excited and over eccentric, yeah, for a lot of the time. But most of the time, this character's a great addition, and honestly, it felt more like this was her story than Hawkeye's story. I mean, Hawkeye does have his story now and again, and it's evenly balanced, but Kate just felt like a bit more of the main character. So, honestly, I think the title of the show, Hawkeye, adds a different meaning, because, she's becoming like another Hawkeye member. As I've been mentioning so far in this review, you can guess that another aspect is the comedy, because this show is downright hilarious. It got a lot of good laughs out of me, with the many cameos, the many interactions between characters, and just overall comedic situation that these characters would get into. And as you can see on this poster that I'm showing you right now, so it's not really a spoiler if you're seeing this poster right now, because, that's the main poster that they've been advertising, but Yelena from Black Widow, played by Florence Pugh, comes back in the show, and has her own story arc, which I won't give away, but she adds, probably the most hilarious comedy in the entire series. This woman just got a lot of the best lines, especially when she's interacting with Kate Bishop, but she can handle the emotional scenes very well, and she's just as memorable as she was in Black Widow. Florence Pugh, I think you're aiming for the big time in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I also think that the villains of this series are very memorable and also very intense and menacing as well. We have the new villain Maya, or Echo, as her identity calls. She's a deaf martial artist who is trying to hunt down Hawkeye and Kate Bishop for reasons that I won't spoil, but not only is she very strong and very intimidating as an antagonist, but you can definitely understand where she's coming from. Yes, her actions are a bit extreme, but you can understand why she's feeling the way she feels, and I'm interested to see the upcoming Echo spin-off series that she's having with her adventures, and it's just so interesting to see this character be a pretty good villain. Running out of things to say. But really, she's not actually the main villain, she's more the more secondary antagonist who does go through a good character arc. Because I have to say, the main villain in this series, oh my god, that was a complete surprise. I won't say who the villain is, but let me just say, not only is this villain intense, not only is he very memorable, but it is another way of proving that another part of Marvel that wasn't really canon to begin with is now officially canon, because this villain shows up, and after a recent Marvel thing that happened recently, it's just becoming more clear that this is part of the canon. But the villain of this show is just great, and without spoiling anything, good to be back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's all I'm going to say about the villain. I also really liked the style of the show. It's a very bright, Christmassy atmosphere, which I'm not really saying that much because, this show takes place around Christmas time, which you're probably wondering, why am I reviewing it in summer? Well, I'm just reviewing a Marvel Cinematic Universe no matter what time the show takes place in, but that's regarding, I'm not discussing that, but it definitely seemed like a cool atmosphere to look at, and the action scenes are very credible, intense, especially the ways that Kate, or Clint would use the arrows, because Clint is showing Kate a lot of the tricks that the arrows do, or as Kate calls them, trick arrows. But it's very interesting to watch, and it has a lot of cool moments, especially the final episode. The final episode has a lot of cool action, and leaves off a very awesome note. But as much as I really enjoyed Hawkeye and got a kick out of it, I did have a few problems with it. First of all, it's pertaining to some of the side characters. Now, a lot of the side characters are very interesting to watch, like the Viking Knight cosplayers. I thought they had a lot of memorable moments, but some of the side characters seemed a bit too, well, snobby, to be honest, and a bit too easy on the ears or the eyes. And what I mean by that is that there's supposed to be, like, some secrets about them, but never really hit the mark. Especially Kate's mother, Eleanor Bishop. I felt like that she was a bit too snobby for the most part. I mean, she acts with a very snobby attitude that made her come off as quite unlikable and not really to spend time with. Now, this was supposed to be intentional because there's supposed to be like a little reveal later on in the series that I can't really spoil, but she kind of leans on this reveal a bit too much with her attitude and her actions, to the point where this reveal ends up becoming obvious. The first time I saw the show, I was really shocked. But after watching it again, I started noticing obvious red herrings to the twist, and ended up making the twist less shocking and less best written, and just seemed like an easy attempt to shock first-time viewers. Because, honestly, I felt like she was the weakest link of the cast, and yeah, I just wasn't too fond of her. And I will admit that this next issue isn't really as big of an issue as Kate's mother, but it's just almost as irritating and felt like almost as big as of a waste of potential that the show could have had, is that I could have used either a bit more or way more of the show's villain. Now again, the show's villain, it's great, but I think because it's so nice to have this character be the villain, I wanted a bit more screen time with him. I mean, you are, like, amazed that this character is in the show, but you're not exactly as effective as, say, Willem Dafoe reprising his role as Green Goblin in Spider-Man No Way Home. And I get that's part of a different franchise, but it's also part of, like, this whole, like, combination of different franchises from Marvel, that this multiverse, or just what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing now. So I do wish that this character could have had more screen time, but I think they're more just saving it for, like, the Echo series. Again, great villain, but I just wanted more with him, that's all. But besides the over snobbiness of Kate's mother and the not as given potential villain, I really enjoyed Hawkeye. It's a great Disney Plus series and a great new addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It had great action scenes, great comedy, lots of laughs, great characters. Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are great together, the villain is great, and I did have a lot of fun watching it. I would watch it again, so I would give it a very high 4 out of 5. It's definitely worth the watch, and you should go see it if you love Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton. And there are also so many dramatic scenes that definitely hit you in the heart. But anyway, guys, what do you think of Hawkeye? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And which character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe would you like to see have a spin-off? Would you like a Rocket Raccoon movie? Would you like a Okoye movie? Would you even like a solo Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie? But anyway, just let me know in the comment section below if you want a different character to have a spin-off. Again, more videos, more Marvel Cinematic Universe videos to come, and I will be back. Anyway, I'm Daniel with your movies, TV shows, doing videos. Till then, peace out, man.